Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Drew. I've got some cards that I recently picked up I'm going to share with you along with this Mickey Mantle Sports Illustrated. So we'll get to the Mickey Mantle in a little bit, but let's start out with 1955 Jim Pendleton. And Jim Pendleton, who was a Missouri native, was a Negro star in 1948. In his rookie campaign in 1953, he hit 3 homers in a game. He was just the second rookie in Major League Baseball history to hit 3 in one game. He joined his teammate Eddie Matthews, who had done it the previous year. He died on March 20th, 1996, at the age of 72. So these cards from 1955, I continue to grade because I'm trying to get a completed 1955 and 1956 set. So here's the back of that card. Love the cartoons, as I've said numerous times before. If a base runner interferes with a fielder, what do? Well, you call the base runner out. All right, so that's Jim Pendleton. Slide him over here. Next up, we have Russ Kemmerer. And I don't know, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He was born in Pittsburgh, and he would attend the University of Pittsburgh and play baseball there. He pitched for the Red Sox, the Senators, the White Sox, and Colt 45s. Following his career in baseball, he became a minister and coached youth sports. He died on December 8, 2014 at the age of 84. There you go. PSA 5. Here's the back of that card. And it says, the cartoon says, a ball player once threw 426 feet. Who was that? And let's flip it around. And it says, well, it was true. Sheldon Lejeune, 1910, in the minors. I'm guessing that distance has been beat since that time. I'm going to scoot Jim over just a pinch more. Make a little bit more room. All right. Next up is Tom Qualters. And Tom Qualters, here's his 1955 tops. Another Pennsylvania native from McKeesport. I hope I'm saying that right. He was a bonus baby with the Phillies out of high school. $40,000. Can you imagine that back in the day? And so if you don't know what a bonus baby was, they had to stay in the majors for 2 years. Now, they could either sit on the bench or they could play, but most of the time they just sat there on the bench and didn't do anything for 2 years. 1953, as a rookie, he had 1 appearance and gave up 6 earned runs. So he remained on the roster in 1953 and 1954, and again, just appearing in that one game. He's the only pitcher to appear in a Topps card 4 times without ever recording a win or a loss. He got into law enforcement after baseball, and he died at the age of 88 on February 15th of last year, 2024. Here's the back of that card. Which base is known as the hot corner? I think we all know that's going to be third base. There you go. Mr. Tom Qualters, a bonus baby. All right, next up we have New York City native Ed Lopat. He actually pitched 12 seasons, and he won the ERA title in 1953 with a 2.42 ERA. He was a pitcher, a coach, manager, front office executive, and a scout. He was an all-star in 1951, and he won 5 World Series championships with the Yankees. Died June 15th, 1992 at the age of 73. Take a look at the back of that. The longest scoreless tie ever played went 19 innings. What 2 teams played it? Looks like it was in 1946 with Cincinnati and Brooklyn. Again, there's the back. Tom Lopat. All right, one more card. And this is Middletown, Connecticut native Joe J. 13 seasons as a pitcher, and he had his best years with the Reds. He is in the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame as of 2008. He was the first little leaguer to get into the bigs. He was a bonus baby as well, and he signed a $20,000 contract. In 1961 and 1962, he won 21 games each of those years. And, he was an all-star in 1961. He died on September 27th, 2024, at the age of 89. Here's the back. Who made an unassisted triple play in the World Series? I would have never have gotten this. 1920. Bill Wham. My lighting's not the best, so I won't say it. I'll just let you read it. There we go. That's Joe J. All right, let me clear these cards out of the way real quick, and we'll talk about this Mickey Mantle Magazine back here, which was really, I'm going to take a TJ Maxx inspired approach to this. So Terry does a fantastic job showing magazines and talking about the history of that magazine and what the contents are and pairing cards with it. I certainly won't have the the great narrative that Terry does, but I'm going to do my best just to kind of show you a few things inside this magazine, which came out on August 21st, 1995. So, and this is, by the way, my 1953 Topps Mickey Mantle. I'm going to scoot Mickey in just a little bit closer here. And let me see, I'll get this opened up here to a page. There was an interesting article here that talked about whether Dwight Gooden would be a good risk or a bad risk. And what they did was they asked 20 managers in Major League Baseball whether they would take a chance on Dwight Gooden. This was about the time that he was suspended. And knowing the skeletons in his closet, would they want to take a chance on him? And as you can see down here, 10 said yes and 10 said no. So it did mention Darryl Strawberry in this magazine. Shout out to Mookie. So Mookie, back then, would you have given a chance to Dwight Gooden again or not? All right, let me flip the page. All right, I thought this was an interesting tidbit. Right here it says, the University of Wisconsin's $220,000 refurbishment of Camp Randall Stadium includes 2 holding cells for spectators who break the law. What's going on there in Badger country that they need 2 holding cells at a college football stadium? All right. If anybody knows, let me know. I thought this was a really cool insert photograph, Mickey Mantle. I don't know who the catcher is. If anybody would happen to know, I'd be interested. But it's a great black and white photo. And we're going to go ahead and turn the page here. You can see old Mickey's right knee is all wrapped up. And just some interesting quotes as well. If they say this kid with all great talent would devote himself to baseball, he could become the greatest player who ever lived. If I'm not mistaken, this came out shortly after Mickey got out of rehab. But here's another quote from Casey Stengel. The biggest thing about this boy is that he likes to play baseball. The knee bothers him, and he still comes out to me and says, "Let me play." And so here's a picture of Mickey on the left. I think that's Billy Martin with his back to us and Whitey Ford on the right. And if I'm not mistaken, I think in the tank top, that's Hank Bauer. Maybe? I'm not sure. Just a guess. But here's a quote, again by Mickey Mantle. Ted Williams was a real hitter. Me, I just got up there and swung for the roof every time and waited to see what would happen. Yeah, a couple more pages here. Looks like Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle eating corn. All right. And this is being filmed in the Cornhusker State. That worked out great. You say to yourself, he's famous and he could retire just on his name. And Casey said this guy's going to be better than DiMaggio. It didn't happen. God gave me a great body. I just didn't take care of it. And I think that's really about it. So we'll put that back here, and again, I paired it with my 1953 Topps Mickey Mantle. Thank you again, Terry, for the inspiration in doing these types of videos with magazines. Do you know what Mickey Mantle and Eddie Watt have in common? Well, not a lot, but I can tell you, and thank you, Mookie, for letting me know this. This guy, Mickey Mantle, never got one hit off of Eddie Watt. All right, up next is my last portion from the radio interview that I did with Mr. Watt. So stay tuned for that. Keep growing your collection, card farmers. Thanks. Before I show this last clip, I did want to mention that I wanted to end my interview with Mr. Watt at the radio station with a fun question regarding Earl Weaver. If you know Earl Weaver or who he was, the Hall of Fame manager, he was very entertaining. So I thought I was going to get a very entertaining comment or response back from Mr. Watt, but I got something very different. You're going to be very surprised by the answer.
2398 wants to know, what is your proudest MLB achievement, whether individually or team-wise?
My proudest achievement, I think, was making it to the big leagues and staying there for 10 years and being relatively successful when many people didn't think that I was big enough, didn't think that I had enough ability. They didn't realize how seriously I took my job. I try to take every job I do seriously, but I very seriously worked to make myself a baseball player, and was very proud of the fact that I succeeded in that. And I think that's my crowning glory. If everybody talks about legacies and all that stuff, I don't know anything about that. That's far too deep for me and for my mind. But if I wanted to be remembered for anything, it would be the fact that I was successful against all odds.
Well said. We'll throw it to our final break here. Again, one-on-one with the former MLB pitcher Eddie Watt, and Drew Cromwell joins us as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll keep things rolling on a Ticket Sunday. All right, welcome back in. Final segment. We're going one-on-one with the former MLB pitcher Eddie Watt, and Drew Cromwell joins us as well. If you guys want to put in any last-second comments before we get out of here, 402-464-5685 is the Sartor Heyman text line. Also, use the streams, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. We only got a little bit of time left, so Drew, I'll throw it over to you.
All right. Hall of Fame manager Earl Weaver was known to mix it up with the umpires a little bit. What is one of your favorite Earl Weaver stories?
Well, Drew, I have two.
Okay.
Earl was a showman. He would argue and he'd put on a show for the fans and stuff. But Earl was probably the finest manager around. He knew 3 innings ahead of time what was going on. So, but the one story at the All-Star break in 1970, I'd just been divorced. 71. I was divorced, and my mother was not well, and I was going to take my kids, my 3 kids. I was single. I was going to take my 3 kids back to Iowa to see her. But on a Wednesday, we had this is All-Star break, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Weave says, okay, anybody that doesn't make the workout Tuesday or misses the plane to California is going to cost them $100. I went in Sunday afternoon, wrote a check, gave Earl $100. And I said, Weave, I'll meet you in California. I'll take care of my own plane tickets and everything else. I want to take the kids back and have them see their grandmother. And he just pretended to grump and everything else. Well, I did, and I took the kids, and I took them up and to their other grandmothers. And then when we got to California, I got there and we played and come back. And Earl never cashed the check. He never cashed the check. I don't know whatever happened to. I know what happened to it. He just tore it up. He wasn't quite the egotistical, hard-headed, heartless person that a lot of people thought he was. The other time was I'd been with Earl 2 years in the minor leagues, 5 years in the big leagues, and during the winter meetings in '73, I got sold to Philadelphia. I left a bunch of my stuff in the clubhouse in Baltimore. When we left, I didn't figure to get sold or traded or whatever it was. So on the day I decided to go down and pick up all my extra baseball stuff and a few odds and ends that I'd taken there, I run into Earl, and we sit there, and he actually started to cry. And I did too. I don't know why I am now, but it was a very tender minute that I never forget. And I know he never forgot either.
Well, I got to ask you, did anybody ever charge the mound?
No, everybody, if I hit anybody, everybody knew it was either a mistake, and I didn't hit very many people by mistake. And if I did hit somebody, I'd hit them in a place that wouldn't do any more than bruise, never drew blood. I did break one guy's hand, but he deserved it. I never threw at anybody that didn't deserve to be thrown at. And that was somebody that tried to show up the club or try to show up me or deride my ability or the Oriole ability or something. But no, nobody ever charged the mound. Everybody knew that the game was done the way it should have been done, and they expected it.
Absolutely. And we got to go ahead and wrap things up here. But I can't say it enough. Eddie Watt, definitely appreciate the time and your ability to be here with us today. And one more time, Drew, if they want to go ahead and give you a follow, where can they find you?
Yeah, YouTube, Clean Cheap Shots.
Absolutely. Do that. Give them a follow, like, and subscribe as always. And once again, thank you to Eddie Watt, former MLB pitcher. That's going to wrap it up for us here on a Ticket Sunday. Don't go anywhere, though. We'll have some more pre-recorded shows for you up next. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you in a little bit.